Hello my fellow strawmen and welcome back to the Fields of Hay. Several weeks ago I uploaded a video asking 5 questions that I find theists struggle to answer. Admittedly, 2 of them weren't much challenge for those who accept theistic evolution, but otherwise I still think they cast doubt on the various theistic worldviews. I don't know how many more questions of that caliber I have in me, but I know it's at least 5 more because today I'm back with questions 6 through 10 that I think theology doesn't have good answers for. My first question today is based on the idea that as a human, I can rest assured that I will make many mistakes in my life. If I want to be able to catch those mistakes and fix at least some of them, then I don't want to believe in any unfalsifiable ideas. That way, if one of my beliefs is wrong, its falsifiability means that I stand at least some chance of finding evidence that demonstrates to me my error, and I can correct it. On the other hand, unfalsifiable beliefs are just as adept at reaching false conclusions as precept and circular reasoning, so I avoid them. In that spirit, to those few believers who do consider God falsifiable, what kind of evidence do you think would falsify such a being? And to everyone else, why are you comfortable believing something which you have no way of knowing if it is misleading you? And to those wondering how I would falsify my beliefs in naturalism, go watch my video on using Skittles to prove God, which I'll link here. One reason why I can think why people would accept their unfalsifiable faiths is because of the community it provides. But if the goal is community, I would think that truth would have an inherent usefulness that no falsehood ever could, because there is no chance that a discovery of the falsehood upsets the society. So my question is, if you suddenly came to the knowledge that the beliefs of your religion are definitively wrong, would you give them up in the hopes of finding something more accurate, or would you stay for the sake of the community you have? In a similar vein to community, this next question goes out to all the theists who still hold to their childhood faiths. When I was being raised a Christian, I felt so lucky that I wasn't Muslim or Hindu, because then I would have had to be perceptive enough to recognize the falsity of my beliefs, and take a probably long and difficult road to finding the truth of Jesus' Gospels. It worried me that I might not have been able to find my way out, and it inspired me to learn the science and reasoning skills that would give me the perception not to be fooled. Of course, in the ultimate irony, those skills led me to questioning and eventually giving up on my family's beliefs. So my question to you is, do you feel lucky for being born into the correct beliefs? In other words, regardless of the circumstances of your birth, do you think that you would have found the reason to believe that you do? Or did you only find the truth of divine inspiration because you were lucky enough to be born into a family that already found it? My penultimate question is a yes or no. Many religions I know of say something along the lines of faith being a great virtue, while doubt is the beginning of the slippery slope to damnation. But as best as I can tell, the truth has nothing to fear from doubt. If you doubt something's truth, you start questioning it and searching for answers. By the nature of being true, one would expect that the truth would be able to provide such answers. And so in the end, doubting things which are actually true leads to a greater and more satisfying understanding of the truth than just taking it on faith. On the other hand, lies must fear doubters on the threat of the lie being discovered. Doubting something which is actually false can put enough pressure on the mistruth to make it crack, and you can give up on the rotten belief. Doubt, to me, is a tool that is very useful in separating fact from fiction. It can be used to excess if one doubts even the evidence presented to their faces. But barring this misuse, do you agree with me that doubt is a good thing to have? And if not, why? Of course, I've saved my best question for last. And for it, I'd like you to put yourself into God's shoes. Imagine for a moment that you are the being who created the whole of reality, the being from which all the rest of existence stems and who knows all truths. Would you, as such a being, be a solipsist? Or to put it less personally, would God be a solipsist? I think the answer is yes, because solipsism is the idea that your mind is the only thing in existence. And from a creator God's point of view, whose mind is the basis of existence, the divine mind would be the only thing to truly exist. Everything else is just an aspect of it or a derivation from it. If you disagree, I'd like to know why you think God wouldn't be a solipsist. And if you think I'm making a valid point, then I hope it troubles you that your beliefs reduce to solipsism. It troubles me. My rejection of solipsism on the basis of my argument device is the reason why I don't merely lack belief in a God, but go so far as to believe that God doesn't exist. So in summary, my 5 questions are, do you care if your belief in God is unfalsifiable? Would you give up a belief you thought to be false even if it cost you your community? Do you feel lucky to have found the correct faith if you were born into it? Is doubt a good thing? And is God a solipsist? I look forward to hearing your answers in the comments, and if you missed my last set of questions, I'll link the video here. And whether or not you want to bother spending your time replying to me, don't forget to spend at least a little bit of it today reading a fucking book.